name is Andrew Lucia. I'm the Assistant Superintendent for School Support and District Development. I want to welcome you here for our community conversation. This is our part 2. We had one back in June, and we have a mighty crowd here tonight to keep the interest in the things that would have taken place from June to today, and then what we're going to be doing with the interim section for the next couple of years. And then also what we'd like to do in terms of the grander scale for a long-range approach to utilizing that property in the best way that we hear from the community and what's good for the educational purposes for students. So tonight we have a couple of things that I'd like to go over. We want to introduce a few folks. We have a board of trustee here. We have Jody Muirhead, who's here. Wait for her. A little round of applause. That'd be great for Jody. Thank you, Jody. We're such an intimate group, I think I can casual. Dr. Rose, who's sitting on Jody's right. He's the superintendent of St. Clair Unified School District. And do we have any other board members up there? Okay. All right. Well, welcome everyone. Tonight's agenda, we're just going to show a quick map of the farm. I found out that we're not able to dim these lights at the front here, so I apologize. Some of the pictures are lighter than they appear, but they're good pictures. And this will also be posted on our district website, so you'll be able to review it and share it with others if you'd like to. I'm going to go over what we heard from the June 1st listening evening that we had here, and talk about the interim plan, and I'm going to be introducing a couple of folks to do that. And then the educational goals, as I said, for the long-range part. And then some next steps that we have in mind to make sure that we keep this conversation and we keep that at the forefront of what we're doing and why we're doing it. So up here we have the farm area off to the left here. Again, it's 11 acres, and it's kind of transforming, as many of you have seen over the last couple of months. And going back to June 1st, we had some areas that we wanted to bring forward to you. We had about 100 people that attended the evening. We also had board members from our district, from the Full Circle Farm parent group, and also our district staff. So I thought it was a really well-attended event. We've got great information, great ideas were coming forward for what we were to do in the interim, and also for the long range, and really the pulse of what folks were hoping for in some way, shape, or form going forward. We went over the history of the farm, the 3 phases. We had a services vision. We had something called the World's Cafe activity, and the next steps. The focus areas for that World's Cafe were the partnerships, the volunteer opportunities, the educational vision, and the community access. And what we heard from you were a number of things. And these, again, are posted on the district's website and shows the breakdown as to how many dots were attributed to the areas that people had talked about. And I pulled some of them off of that list. I wasn't going to be able to put all of them, but I thought these were the ones that were kind of floated to the top as to what the community was hoping for as we go forward into the interim and then long-range sections. Under partnerships, there could be chances to do Eagle Scout projects, having Girl Scouts come in there and do some projects as well, doing some type of soil sampling, water sampling for outside groups to come in and continue doing the great stuff that's there. But the soil is supposed to be in good shape, but I know that there's some work that needs to be done to bring it up to speed to make it a full production farm. Under the volunteers, people wanted to keep volunteering. They continue to want to have dirt under their fingers and have a chance to be out there in that beautiful space, being able to look out into the mountain range that you see in the Santa Cruz Mountains, and have a chance to still be part of the the feel of what is taking place. Chickens were important. That got a lot of dots, and having eggs and people being able to see some type of farm animals was something very important. And then there's to be some type of community volunteer days so that people could get out there as a group and do some type of work on the farm itself. Under the educational vision, definitely having students take part of that, have some type of activities while they're out there that are hands-on. Followed up with beekeeping, which I thought was a pretty cool thing to have. There's a buzz about that right now, so we're going to keep talking about bees. And to allow vendors to hold classes out there. And then over at the end, that there's still an opportunity for beekeeping, some meditation spaces, having a farm stand, community events, and making sure that there was some access for the community to get out there. And just a deep interest in tours, like what is this all about? What is this farm really doing, and how is it doing it? So having an opportunity to educate folks about urban farming. This next section that I want to get into is the interim part. We had shared that it was going to be a 2 to 3 year span, and we have been able to bring in a farm consultant by the name of David Tuttle, and he'll be talking a little bit about himself and where we're going with this next section, along with Karen Luna, who is our Director for Nutrition Services. And we have some pretty exciting things that carry through with what the community was saying in terms of what they'd like to see happen, and then structuring it in a way that benefits the students, both on an educational way and also on a nutritional way in terms of getting produce into our schools. So if we can give a big round of applause for Karen and David, and also Michelle Bailey. Michelle's going to sit down. So come on up, guys.
Good evening. I'm Karen Luna, Director for Nutritional Services, and this is David Tuttle, our farm consultant for the district. So our goal is to take care of the land and start re-nourishing the soil and the garden and make it a organic farm that's going to produce fruits and vegetables for the district nutritional services, and take care of the infrastructure during this 3-year interim plan. So David started in July, and I'm going to let him talk about what the great things he's found at the farm and some of the challenges that we still have going forward.
Hi. So the soil composition at the farm, we've done a soil test, and the soil is actually fantastic. As most of you probably already know, we live in a very healthy environment for growing. And we have a rich history in this valley for growing a lot of produce here. So the soil composition is good. It needs just a little bit of work, which we're already moving forward with. The orchard is pretty much in good shape. It does need some rehabilitation in some areas, but for the most part, it looks pretty good. We have a lot of the old varieties of fruit in there, the Blenheim apricots. We have a lot of plums. We have some cherries, which are great, and most of those trees are looking fantastic. And we are going to plant some of the ones that have died, the ones with the name placards on them, with the original variety that was planted there for that individual. Some of the challenges that we're having, ground squirrels, they're always a challenge on a farm, so good management practice needs to be put in place, and we'll be on top of those relatively quickly. And the infrastructure, so irrigation, we're doing pretty good at that. There's plenty of water out there. We'll go and implement a drip system with some mulch moving forward next spring. And we have that barn or that building out there that we're going to actually kind of reconfigure and it'll store a lot of our tools and some of our tractors.
So this is kind of how we divided out the farm. We separated into different plots. A, B, C, and D are going to be areas that we're going to grow crops. David's going to plant about 1 acre in the next few weeks. So which plot was it? Block A is going to be where we're going to do our initial planting. And then in the back is the existing communal garden. So in a few weeks, we're going to be getting a new tractor, and David's going to be planting some carrots, lettuce, cabbage, cauliflower, kale. We went through all of our usage that we use in nutrition services all of last year and talked about with our chef and David about what we can use, what are the things we can grow that the kids will like the most, doing some new things like rainbow carrots, different color chard that we think the kids might get excited about, and planning together as a group to utilize the farm to best we can. And we hope to have our first harvest into the schools in late fall.
So like I said before, the soil composition out of the farm is in great shape. We used a third-party auditor to go ahead and do the analysis, and we did a random sample from the available 6.5 acres that we're going to utilize. And as you can see, we're pretty much high in almost a lot of the categories. And we do need some work in breaking down the clay soil, so we're going to go ahead and add lime to that. But also, and the pH level is a little on the low side, so we're going to bring that up just a tad as well. And if you look at the very bottom, the organic matter on is 6.5%, which is extremely good as far as soil nutrition. We've already treated Block A just a week ago with some lime and some organic compost. And then in the springtime, we're going to go ahead and treat blocks A, B, C, D, and E. So moving forward.
The first picture on towards us is the first day we were out on the farm. There was still some crops left from Full Circle, both in the farm section as well as the communal garden section. So, and then the middle picture and the far picture is the progress that David's been making over the last month and a half. We've already started to create some educational opportunities with the farm. We invited the culinary class here at Peterson over to the farm to help us glean some of the produce that was left in the farm area as well as the communal garden area. And the kids came over one afternoon and picked some produce, and Jarrell, the teacher for the culinary class, created they called it a culinary throwdown. So a couple days later, the kids all produced a vegetarian pasta dish in their groups, and the pictures of him teaching some basic knife skills because it was their first cooking challenge of the year. And in the forefront is some fresh basil that the kids picked from the farm. It was really fun for us to see the first time the kids were there at the farm picking the produce. And there was one young lady that asked me, well, why are there yellow tomatoes and red tomatoes? Why would you plant two different colors? So we had her taste them and see the difference. It was the first time she had ever eaten a yellow tomato, and she thought they were so amazing and wonderful. So that was really fun. So some of the ideas that we have to create revenue at the farm to help us produce more crops and guide the soil amendments is that Stanford has had a long-standing tradition every summer of having a camp for the kids where they pick produce and create vegetarian meals every day with the produce that they cook. So we're already speaking with them and starting to do some planning for the summer and collaborating over that. We're going to try and do a fall festival, probably not until next year. And farm-to-table dinners with our chefs from the district out in the farm, hopefully maybe this fall, but probably not until the spring. And eventually, when we get some chickens back on the farm, we'll be doing some chicken egg sales and having eggs, fresh farm eggs in the cafeterias for breakfast. And possibly some U-Pick days where people can come out and help us harvest the crops. So the conclusion is that we have this amazing farm that we're so excited to be able to take care of and start growing produce for our children in the district, and being able to serve it in the cafeterias is just a dream for us, and we are so excited about it. And David is enjoying every day being out there taking care of the land, and we look forward to more community opportunities and volunteering and possibly just events at the farm that the community can come and join us on. And becoming an organic farm, hopefully in 3 years, we're going to apply for that process in January. So we're really excited about being able to be a local organic farm for our Farm to Table program.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kathy Knavely, Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services. We are working really closely with David and Karen and Michelle as they begin to transform the farm in the short run. But we are also, as we shared before when we were here, planning for the long run. Some of that has included, some of that has just been, it has included actually having conversations with some folks in this room even that have had interest in sharing with us some great educational settings around farms and environmental centers. So we are exploring all of that and learning many things. We're going to farm conferences to learn more about what other school districts are doing. And in the meantime, our very expert teachers in the field of environmental science and our director of secondary education around the NGSS standards have really been trying to fine-tune what some possibilities might be. And we've had many, many possibilities before. We're starting to narrow them. However, there are still quite a few. So you can see that really we want to still stay connected with the new next generation science standards as we move forward, which environmental science is a huge piece of that, as well as engineering. So some of the things that have come up are to really still pay attention to the learning opportunities that we might have, and those are listed up there. Two models that are sort of starting to emerge out as potential leaders in our thinking. The first would be to have a small academy-like school on that property where the students are really, that is their focus of their high school education as a sort of a choice. We have choices. We have a Fab Lab and a Leadership Academy that has a strand from Cabrillo Middle School through Santa Clara High School that's very much focused on STEM. And this would be another opportunity to potentially focus and have students really hone in on some practices. We do, there's the word CTE up there, and I'll explain that. That's Career Technical Education. In Career Technical Education, there are strands that we can potentially look at for our farm experience for our students, and some of those are listed up there. There are pathways. The state of California determines pathways for career technical education, and many of those we see fitting into, potentially into working with the land. So you can see them up there: ag science, urban farming, engineering, even business and entrepreneurship, starting up their own companies. And then the other model that and these are not two that we couldn't do together, but these are sort of the two that are emerging, is really to have a district outdoor lab. And then that sort of spreads it even farther, like down to kindergarten and up to post-secondary. And there are some great things about that. Some of the things that have kind of risen to the top is our employment opportunities for our high school students. And really looking at, we are beginning in the career technical education pathways to see gardens springing up at many of our elementary sites and having a connection to those smaller gardens and connecting them to this bigger venture. So again, all of it really supporting our next generation of standards in many ways. And this is really long range, so we're really planning, and I think it doesn't mean what our other team is doing stops, because we're really planning together, and we see a lot of connection. They're already working so much with our students, and we see broadening that.
Pop forward to our next phase here. What I didn't see that we have talked about is the master plan for the whole area in it of itself. So we have quite a bit of space, not only the farm, but let me go back to the bigger picture here. It's not the best picture in the world in terms of lightness here, but up at the top here we have Peterson Middle School. Down here in the right-hand corner is Patrick Henry. The fields that are behind there that are currently being used by Sunnyvale Soccer Alliance group. The big football field in the center. And then this area here has not really been utilized in terms of PE activities as it used to in the past because of the ground squirrels that seem to be living there. This whole area is going to be going under a master plan. We have an architect that will be coming through, an architect group coming through, really telling us how do we best utilize the space in a way that is getting the most out of that space. It's a rare opportunity to have 20 plus acres, 25 plus acres out there, and we want to make sure that we're using it in a way that is in the best interest of the district, the students, and the community. So that'll be taking place over this next 6 months, a year. So what I'd like to do is kind of modify this approach here. We have our board set up, and we have some facilitators who will be participating, and we can kind of scribe it a little bit differently. We're going to break out into two groups, and even if we just take this group here, and then this side here, and if you guys can slide to the left, and then this group here would slide to my right going towards the street over here. We have our poster board set up. And what we're interested in hearing is, based on these titles, based on what Ms. Luna and Farmer Dave has shared with you on the interim, what Ms. Knable has shared in terms of the educational vision for the property over a longer range, I'd like to hear some of your thoughts as in getting these written down so that we can continue to incorporate those ideas into the plans as we go forward. To give you an example, I know that having chickens and having access to fresh eggs was really important, and Farmer Dave is saying, yeah, we can do that, and being able to pull that into the plan was listening to the group to be able to do that. So if we can take a few minutes, go ahead and stand. We're going to have, again, this group over here, you're going to shift that way. Steps. We will be doing the master plan of the area as Ms. Haley had indicated. It'll be an 8-month process along with additional community input. We're going to be building the long-range goals. I know Ms. Knable and the Head Services team will continue to do their outreach and information gathering to build the best program going forward. And then we'll continue to message this out to the community, both to the Laurelwood and Peterson group, through our district website, and school days. Those are our main avenues for getting information out. We also are building a listserv of emails that I hope you will sign up for at the back table. We have a yellow piece of paper in the center table there. Please make sure you put down your name and your email so that you can continue to get these messages. It's the way that we can get the information out. And I would encourage you that if you do get one of those emails as to what the updates are or our next conversation, our community conversation, that you put it up on Facebook. Go ahead and put it in take a picture of it, throw it up on Snapchat, whatever it takes to get that information out to your friends and the people around you. That would help us get the message out. We want to encourage that. So again, thank you so much for coming tonight. We're going to again take your input. We'll tabulate it to make sure that Farmer Dave and Ms. Luna are aware of the volunteer opportunities, any new partnerships that the group that Steve worked with. Let's give Steve a quick round of applause and Philippa. Thank you very much. And then Jennifer Perico, our relations officer, she was working on the community accessibility along with the farm to school program. So big round of applause for Jennifer.